On a warm September evening in 2021, a seemingly ordinary van life adventure would turn into a national mystery that captivated millions. Gabby Petito, a 22-year-old woman, set out to explore the breathtaking beauty of America's national parks, capturing every moment of her journey for her Instagram followers. Yet, within days of her last social media post, Gabby vanished without a trace, and her fiancé, Brian Laundrie, returned to Florida alone. Gabby Petito wasn't just another young woman with a dream. She was an aspiring influencer, a passionate traveler, and someone who found joy in sharing her experiences with the world. Her online presence, full of bright, cheerful photos, painted a picture of an adventurous life spent exploring the great outdoors with her fiancé, Brian Laundrie. The couple's journey began in July 2021, when they set off in their white, converted van to travel across the country. From the deserts of Utah to the lush forests of Wyoming, they chronicled their adventures on Instagram, capturing moments of carefree bliss. Gabby's followers adored the couple. Their journey seemed idyllic, the epitome of young love and freedom. They were drawn in, feeling as though they were part of the journey. The narrative was simple: two young lovers chasing their dream of life on the road. But what viewers didn't know was that behind the lens, the couple's dynamic was far from perfect. Unseen tensions, emotional outbursts, and cracks in the relationship were starting to surface and would later turn into a tragedy. On August 12th, the couple's road trip took a dark turn. In Moab, Utah, police responded to a 911 call about a possible domestic dispute between Gabby and Brian. That afternoon, a witness called 911 to report a domestic dispute outside the Moonflower Community Cooperative in Moab. The caller described seeing a man slap a woman, after which they both entered a white van and drove off together. Another witness noted that the couple appeared to be arguing aggressively, with the woman possibly hitting the man in the arm. Minutes later, the van was spotted near the entrance to Arches National Park, and officers initiated a traffic stop. The officers couldn't have known that they were about to uncover the first layer of a story that would end in tragedy. Body camera footage from the Moab City Police Department captured the moments following the stop. Gabby was visibly upset, crying, and appeared to have marks on her arm and face. She explained that she had been struggling with anxiety and OCD, which led to the argument. She also spoke of her struggles with mental health, trying to explain the emotional tension. Gabby even admitted to hitting Brian first. Meanwhile, Brian, cool and calm, downplayed the situation, his story conflicting with Gabby's, who, despite her tears, tried to paint the picture of a difficult, but not dangerous situation. He stated that he had tried to create distance by telling her to take a walk, but she became upset and slapped him. No charges were filed, no arrests were made, and the incident was classified as a mental and emotional crisis rather than domestic violence. An independent review later found that the officers made several unintentional mistakes, including failing to cite Gabby for domestic violence despite evidence, suggesting she had been the aggressor. The officers separated the couple for the night, with Brian staying at a local hotel and Gabby remaining in the van. A decision that, in hindsight, would feel more like a missed opportunity to prevent what was coming next. But no one knew. No one suspected the horror that would unfold. Following the incident, Gabby and Brian continued their travels. However, something changed as the trip progressed. The following days passed in a blur, as Gabby's social media posts became less frequent and sparse. Her bright personality seemed to dim. A final Instagram post from Grand Teton National Park appeared on August 25th, a beautiful image of a sunset. It looked like any other photo she had posted, peaceful, serene. But this image, as attractive as it was, would become her last act of normalcy. It was supposed to be the adventure of a lifetime. But what seemed like a carefree adventure would soon turn into a chilling mystery that gripped the nation. What happened during the final days of Gabby's trip? What dark secrets were hidden behind the couple's social media facade? The answers were shocking, twisted, and heartbreaking, revealing a chilling tale of manipulation, control, and ultimately murder. On August 27th, Gabby texted her mom, Nicole Schmidt. She expressed her intentions to continue her van life alone in the future. Nicole asked her daughter if she was breaking up with Brian, to which Gabby replied, "No, I just said I could make more money as a solo female van lifer." Further texts to Gabby went unanswered as she stopped responding to texts. Her family and friends reached out on multiple occasions, but Petito never replied. On August 30th, Gabby's mother got a strange text from Gabby's phone. "Can you help Stan? I just keep getting his voicemails and missed calls." The message referred to Petito's grandfather, but Gabby never referred to him by his first name. She always called him Grandpa. It was the last time anyone would hear from Gabby Petito. The next chilling moment came on September 1st. Brian, now alone, returned to Florida, driving the van as if nothing had happened. Gabby was nowhere to be found, and he said nothing to the authorities. He went silent. What should have been a joyful return turned into an ominous silence. Brian didn't reach out to Gabby's family. He didn't mention her disappearance. He just went home, and then refused to speak to authorities. Days turned into weeks, and Gabby's disappearance gripped the nation. The media, the public, everyone was asking the same question. What happened to Gabby? The search began in full force, but it was already too late for answers. On September 11th, Petito's mother filed a missing persons report with the Suffolk County, New York Police Department. This led to a startling discovery by police in Southwest Florida. Not only had Laundrie returned to his parents' house with Petito's van, but she was not with him. The Laundrie family hired an attorney and refused to help the police investigation. The investigation led police to several places, including Grand Teton National Park in Wyoming, where her phone was last used, which covers 310,000 acres. As police tried to retrace Petito's steps, social media, once a place of joy and adventure for Gabby, now became a key evidence hub. Detective teams scoured every post, every detail of her journey. Gabby's Instagram account, the carefully curated portrayal of her travels, began to look like a tragic farewell. But the real breakthrough came when Brian Laundrie, who had been the only one with Gabby, became a suspect. Yet, in a twist of confusion, Brian himself disappeared. His parents reported him missing on September 17th, stating that he had gone hiking in the Carlton Reserve in Florida, but didn't return. This led to a massive manhunt for Brian, while the clock ticked down on the mystery of Gabby's disappearance. On September 19th, the world learned the truth. Gabby's remains were found in the Bridger-Teton National Forest in Wyoming, not far from where she had last been seen. The FBI quickly confirmed that her death had been ruled a homicide. It was believed by investigators that the scene was staged. An autopsy later revealed that Gabby's death was caused by manual strangulation and blunt force trauma to her head and neck. The heartbreak, confusion, and rage that followed were almost unbearable. How could someone so full of life, so loved, be taken so brutally. The world mourned Gabby's loss, and the search for Brian became even more urgent. Would he be caught before he vanished completely? Weeks later, the search for Brian came to an end. October 20th, nearly a month after Gabby's remains were discovered, the story took its final, tragic twist. Brian Laundrie was dead. He died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Laundrie's remains were discovered in a Florida wildlife reserve, along with a notebook. The notebook revealed chilling confessions, a final, horrifying admission of guilt. Brian had taken Gabby's life. The question that remained, however, was why. Was it rage? A moment of madness? Or was there something darker, something more sinister behind it all? The truth, buried in Brian's final words, raised more questions than answers. And as the world tried to piece together the events of that tragic summer, the chilling reality of domestic violence and manipulation began to surface. Growing up in Blue Point, Long Island, in New York, Gabby Petito was described by her parents, Joe Petito and Nicole Schmidt, as a bubbly, artistic, and loving child. Gabby and Brian Laundrie crossed paths in high school. It was love at first sight, and it seemed, at least from the outside, like an ideal match. After graduating in 2017, the pair began dating in 2019. When Brian's parents, Roberta and Chris Laundrie, moved to Florida, Gabby and Brian tagged along, moving into the family's home and getting part-time jobs as they settled in a life in the Sunshine State. The couple got engaged in July of 2020. Laundrie was described as polite, respectful, and kind. He was the person who had nothing in him that would worry anyone. Gabby's friend, Rose Davis, would later make some shocking revelations about Laundrie's increasingly controlling behavior. In one instance, he stole Petito's wallet and ID so she couldn't go out with Davis. She portrayed Laundrie as someone who isolated Gabby, controlled her, and perhaps even manipulated her emotions. Yet, why would he resort to violence? What drove him to the point where Gabby's dream ended in murder? August 29th, 2021. Gabby Petito's fiancé, Brian Laundrie, was making moves no one could yet understand. Moves that would soon unravel a chilling story of deception, disappearance, and death. What really happened in those final days? The truth is darker than anyone imagined. Brian called his parents repeatedly that day, saying Gabby was gone, that he needed help. Alarmed, his parents immediately contacted an attorney. But these calls were only the beginning of a carefully orchestrated plan. Brian had left Gabby's body somewhere, then hitchhiked not once, but twice, to return to their van. He staged text conversations on both their phones, making it appear they were not together, a digital illusion hiding a horrifying reality. Even more disturbing, he transferred $700 from Gabby's account to his own, with the description reading, "Goodbye, Brian. I'll never ask you for anything again." Every detail, every message, every small action was a step deeper into a terrifying cover-up. The discovery of Petito's body allowed investigators to piece together the final moments of her life. On August 27th, 2021, Petito was seen with Laundrie around 1 p.m. in Jackson, Wyoming at a restaurant called Mary Piglet's. Witnesses reported a heated argument. Later, Gabby tried to call her ex-boyfriend, but he couldn't answer. Around 2:13 p.m., security cameras captured the couple at a Whole Foods. That footage was the last time Gabby Petito was seen alive. They left the store and drove to Spread Creek, arriving around 6 p.m. hours later. At 8:32 p.m., Gabby was at her computer, reportedly rearranging files. Investigators believe these were her last moments alive. Gabby Petito's case was officially closed, but the mystery of their toxic relationship would linger in the minds of everyone who followed the story. Her life, and the mystery of her disappearance, will continue to resonate long after the case is closed. Gabby's story is a haunting reminder of how quickly appearances can hide dark realities, and how every detail, no matter how small, can become a key piece of the puzzle in the search for the truth. Thank you for watching. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications for more gripping true crime stories. Don't miss the next chilling tale.